Welcome everyone to another Comadres in the Metaverse. And today I'm very excited about this topic, tokenomics, security tokens. No, it's not crypto. And why are we talking about this? Because this is just another application, another use case of learning about the blockchain and how it's really going to impact many different kinds of industries going into the future. And you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared for these things. And so this is a very, I think, an important topic just to understand the concept of tokenomics. I have a very exciting guest speaker today, Anayansy Hernandez. I'm very excited to introduce Anayansy. She comes from Security Token Advisors. I'll tell you, you know what? Let me start over again here. My name is Shirley Lopez. I am the host of Comadres in the Metaverse. I am also a comadre. So welcome to all the comadres that are on today and listening in. Thank you for listening in. And also anyone else that's not a comadre, look at Las Comadres as the organization. Great community of women, business owners, and just such a great community of us learning from each other, supporting one another, our projects and so forth. So look into it. And my name is Shirley again. I am owner of L&L Process and Notary Force, and also Metadime, which is a Web3 company. Yay, we're getting into it. So without further ado, I want to introduce Anayansy Hernandez, who is the star of our show today from Security Token Advisors. She's going to dive right into it, but I wanted to give a brief introduction of Anayansy. She is a marketing specialist at Security Token Advisors, an advisory group that facilitates the tokenization of assets for clients, ranging from real estate managers to private equity and venture capital firms to pre-IPO shares. She has been the leading force behind the first STA real estate tokenization course and the strategist and executioner behind the company's branding and image. Yay! Go Anayansy, I love that. She uses her previous experience as an instructional designer and as an owner of Yansy Marketing, her personal marketing company, to disseminate information about security tokens to the public in an easy and digestible way to understand. She has published numerous articles regarding most best practices for crowdfund and security token marketing. I can't wait to dive right into this. Anayansy, please take the floor, and I'll go ahead and stop sharing at this moment so you can share your own presentation. Awesome. And you're on mute. Oh, you're on mute.
There we go.
We can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Thank you so much, Shirley. I'm very excited to be part of this and share with you guys my knowledge on security tokens. Without further ado, I'll get started right onto it. Let me just, there we go. So as Shirley mentioned before, my name is Anayansy Hernandez. I would just give a quick background about me. So I graduated from the University of Florida in 2018 with a degree in public relations. Soon after, I joined Teach for America, where I taught for 4 years in low-income communities, one of those being located here in Miami in Alapata. So for those of you that might not know, that's near the Wynwood area. At the same time that I was a teacher, I began my tutoring company called Best Learners Tutoring. So there were some of the best years of my life. After as well, I started Yansy Marketing, which Shirley mentioned is my personal marketing agency. In 22, I decided to stop teaching and I became an instructional designer, which if you guys have ever taken a course from your employer about ethics or anything from the HR department, I would be the person creating those courses. And eventually you would see how this all comes full scale to what I do today at Security Token Advisors, which is market a, I don't want to say difficult, but a very comprehensive concept of security tokens. And I market it in a way where it's easy for the audience to understand. So the reason why we're here today, what is tokenization? I'm not sure if you've heard a lot of buzz about it. There is right now, in the US, we have a lot of questioning as to what a security is, and you will understand that it kind of ties into what we do. But before I explain to you what tokenization is, I want to explain to you what it is not. The first thing tokenization is not is that it is not crypto. So the reason for that is because crypto is a payment mechanism backed by a blockchain, and it typically is not backed by any real world assets. Crypto also is a medium of exchange, and transactions happen from peer to peer. And the value of crypto is determined by supply and demand. It is also not centralized. It is also decentralized and not regulated at the moment by any jurisdiction. Tokenization is also not an NFT. So as you guys might all know, NFTs are used to represent digital art, collectibles, gaming, and much more. And today we are seeing more of them being used as a membership-based approach. So what this means is, let's say you buy a Starbucks NFT, that NFT gives you certain perks and access. So you might either get a free coffee or you might get discounts on certain days just for being the owner of the holder of that NFT. So tokenization is not any of these two things. What does that mean? What exactly is it? So the process, tokenization is the process of converting a real world asset such as a stock, a bond, or property into blockchain-based tokens. These tokens are what we call security tokens, and they are regulated by the SEC. The tokens can also be traded on exchanges, and they can be used for digital transactions. So I know that's a lot of jargon. Basically, what the tokens represent are ownership of that asset. And I'm going to go a little more in depth into what that is. As I mentioned before, the tokens are simply just a blockchain wrapper that encompass an underlying asset, such as a bond, a stock, a property. These assets, or that underlying asset, it's programmable into a set of rules and guidelines. That programmable set of rules is what we call a smart contract. In that smart contract, we can include a ton of information in it, such as the number of tokens, the amount of the underlying asset that each token represents, jurisdictions allowed for the investors, the type of investor that is allowed, the investment type, distributions, and lockup periods. A lockup period is the amount of time that you have to hold an asset before you can share your asset again. So what exactly does this mean? What happens is, rarely when you have an asset does one person have all the money to buy it. So what tokenization does is that access is now fractionalized digitally using the blockchain to prove ownership of it. So now various investors can come in and invest in that asset. When this process happens, we tend to have two general key players. The first one is the general partner, or GP, and the general partner is the person that manages the asset. They are the ones that make the decisions. They're also the ones that look for investors, and they manage the entire asset. The second key player that comes in is the limited partner, also known as the investor. So the limited partner does not have decision-making, but what they do is that they put money into that asset with an expectation of returns in a later time period. It is very important to understand that not every private offering is open to the public, and that is where the exceptions with the SEC come in. So I'm going to take it back a little bit and put it into a real world example of how this would work. Let's say there's a property owner or developer that needs capital to purchase a real estate property. But one of the problems that they have, they might have raised capital before, but they want a broader reach of investors. At the same time, this developer might want to hold on to their asset for a long period of time. It could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 20 years, right? But they don't want their investors to be tied in for that long extended period with them as well. So how would tokenization solve this? Tokenization can help facilitate reaching new investors outside of their network, since a lot of the tokens can be traded on a secondary market. At the same time, when the developer decides to tokenize their fund, that gives them the option to hold on to their assets as long as they please, while also giving the investors the option to sell their shares whenever they decide to. So those would be the two problems that tokenization would solve at that point. Now, how would this developer go about tokenizing? The first one would be they would need to engage with a token issuance platform. As you can see, I have listed some here. And these are just some of the ones that are most known. But I do want to mention that there are over 25 token issuance platforms. And actually, all of these here are compliant and licensed by the SEC and FINRA. So the first step would be they would engage with the token issuance platforms. The second step that developer would take is that they would onboard their investors, and this would get done through KYC, which is Know Your Customer process, and also AML, which is anti-money laundering. Third, they would need to issue the asset, and then finally, they would distribute their equity via the token through the platform. A big question is, why would someone tokenize? Tokenization gives you the opportunity to sell on a secondary market. And with that, you can gain benefits, whether you're an issuer or an investor. So the issuer, going back to our previous slides, would be the general partner. So remember, this is a person that manages the fund. This is a person that's also looking for investors. So some of the benefits that they get is that they would have a wider pool of investors. And by opening up their asset to secondary markets, tokenizations allow those people that don't know about their asset to now be aware of it. And also it gives them a sense of if they invested in their asset and it went well, they're likely to invest again in them. And then from the benefits from the investor side, also known as the limited partner, there are many benefits as well. First one being liquidity, so how fast that investor can get cash for their asset. Second one being lower cost of transactions, because since we are doing everything on the blockchain, we are eliminating a lot of the middlemen. Third one being access to a wider range of assets. Also enhanced security, remember once again, it is on the blockchain, and improve transparency. Since it is on the blockchain, we can even track the ownership of a certain asset. So another big question that we get a lot at our firm is who is actually doing this? This year, we have seen major companies jump on the tokenization industry and been spending a lot of money on it. I've only provided a couple of examples here. And my company has an entire report that I can share with you guys that goes way more in depth about it. But one of them is ARCA. They have the ARC coin. And what that is that it is a closed-end fund structure on the Ethereum blockchain. And it's primarily for holding US treasuries. JP Morgan also has the JPM coin, and that is a digital representation of the US dollar. This coin acts as a stable coin for the reserves in the JP Morgan treasury. We also have private markets that are also doing these types of investments. And one of them is Realty. What Realty does is that they have a platform where they tokenize individual properties, and then investors can come in and take a part of that investment. But it's individual properties instead of doing a bigger fund. So where exactly could you learn more? As always, you can reach our page, Security Token Advisors. STO Market is actually our sister company, and what they do is that they track all the data for security tokens that are currently being traded at the moment. So if you guys are familiar with crypto, think of coin market cap, but for security tokens. You can also reach me at Anayansy at securitytokenadvisors.com or on Twitter or LinkedIn. And I want to say the best source right now where you can learn more about tokenization is our newest course, Security Token Advisors Real Estate Tokenization course. The course teaches how real estate tokenization works and how each player is affected by tokenization. So whether you're a realtor or a broker, how it affects you and what role you play in tokenization at this part of it. So you can get the course at course.securitytokenadvisors.com. You can email me, or you can go online and you can use the code AH20 to get 20% off from the course.
Awesome, Ana. Now, I actually have questions. Ilona, I'm going to beat you to the questions, so in case you have other ones. I was curious to understand a little bit more about who can take advantage of this. Is it directly the investors? The owners of property, not the investors, the owners of properties, the property investor. Is it the realtors? Who is this really impacting, and how does it change things?
So I think it depends on what exactly it is that you are looking for. So from the investor, from the issuer perspective, which would be the general partner, so the person that is managing the asset and kind of doing the offering, their advantage is that by tokenizing, they can manage a larger pool of investors more easily. So tokenization makes that process, that automation for them easier.
Yes.
That's one of the benefits. If you are an investor, let's talk about real estate properties right now, like the example that I gave, and you want to, take part ownership into a certain type of property, you might be held to that property or asset for a long extended time. So what tokenization do is that it kind of gives you that liquidity option where you can sell your shares before, what if the person
shares or not all, okay. For
that,
liquidity.
so I think, so it depends on both sides where it is that you're looking for.
But I'm still kind of how does this help or hurt realtors? That's the part where I'm still kind of because realtors are the middlemen, right? And so in this situation, would they be the realtor for the fractionalization for how does, or do they could they be the actual general? You had two positions there.
So the realtor,
the general investor,
they would not be the general partner, because the general partner would be practically the person that owns the asset. Right. So for realtors, have you ever heard of Proppy Inc?
No.
Okay, so Proppy Inc, it's funny, they actually have a class for realtors. I have a certification for realtors. And what Proppy Inc focuses is that they have these properties that anyone can go in and they can invest in. So from an investor's perspective. So their realtors, what they do is that they are certified into this and understanding how it works. And then they would find, investors for them. People would be interested in making, capital in this way. So I guess the best way to explain it is that realtors would have an easier gateway or another gateway to find clients and kind of guide them through a different investment protocol.
And would the smart contract include a realtor's compensation for a sale like that?
If that could be embedded in the smart contract, yeah. Smart contracts, so they're kind of coding. It's an if-then statement, right? So if you have, let's say, if I make this amount of money or we get this amount of investments, then our investors would get this amount of shares back. So with that being said, it could be a percentage where it's okay, we made this amount of money, cool. Now everyone that's encompassing this, whoever that person is, get this returned back for them. So it would just be
Okay.
that if then statement.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay. So maybe that might be harder to put realtors' compensation
It's
in after the fact.
Yeah, it would all be pretty much like once you're that first step, which is like kind of setting up how your offering would look like. That's where all that would come into play. The kind of distributions
Okay.
that you would make, things like that.
Okay. Okay. Um, Ilona, do you have any questions? I have another one just in case.
Well, so because I'm not in this specific field, like, so it totally makes sense to use like real estate as an example for like an industry that would benefit from that. And my curiosity is what other industries this works well with, and if there are other industries that you think would benefit from this but haven't yet.
Other industries I would, so ideally with tokenization, like I said, any real world asset could be backed. So even bonds can also be part of that. And that's kind of like when you see the bigger names like ARCA and JP Morgan, that's really
Right.
which is where they tokenizing bigger funds for them. So I think that answers the first part of your question. I think as security token advisors, we tend to get more and more clients with different things that they want to tokenize. And one for me that I have yet to work on a project yet, but I am super interested in, I think there's a lot that could be done for them. It's land.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, we've had a little teasers here and there of like a possible client for land, but I'm really just hoping that that's the next project that we can come up for, because I do think that is one that can benefit a lot from tokenization.
Awesome.
And tell us exactly what the process is for security token advisors when they meet with someone that has a potential project, and how do you determine whether it's going to work? What do you have? What's your process of determining this is a good one?
Yeah. So for us, we always do an intro call to learn more about the project, what it is, what are the goals, a lot of the funding for it as well, because eventually when we go more down the roads, there are different vendors that do need to be included in the tokenization process. So we do want to make sure that there is funding for that. So that's the first thing. We understand the scope of the project. Sometimes we have clients that do need to raise capital beforehand. And so that's where our different services would come in. Like we are a consulting company. So if a client needs to raise capital, then we would guide them on how to be compliant with the SEC in order to do that. Once that is done, then maybe it's when we move forward to, okay, now we actually need to structure the tokens and the offering itself. So that's where we make different introductions to key players in the industry. And then once they move to that point, it's basically they're ready to launch their offering. We might help them on the marketing side as well to kind of just get the word out as to what they're offering, why people should invest in it. And then from there on, it goes on their way. So I guess to answer, there's different ways. Every client comes in at a different stage. We have clients that kind of just need more guidance. We have clients that just want to come in and learn, right? So just have educational packages, which is like, we'll show them, okay, this is what the industry means. This is how you do it. As of right now, that's why we created the course, in order to offer that to our clients as well. So we have clients that just come in for the education side of it. And then we have clients that it's like, okay, we want education. We need help on raising money. We don't help them raise money. We just show them how to be compliant.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So I do want to make that clear. We don't raise money.
What like really interesting projects can you talk about that you guys are working on right now?
So one interesting project that we got is Iron Horse Capital Group. And what he is a developer. He has various properties in, I believe it's North Carolina and Georgia. And he's tokenizing his property. So, and his offering offers like about 6.5% debt-free yield. So what we did with them was that practically tokenize, help them create the fund, tokenized their properties as well, and then also gave them exposures through webinars and questions and answers and things like that. Questions and answers, sorry, Twitter IMAs, and gave them exposure more about their offering and their asset. So that's kind of what we did to them. And they were one of those that they were a client that we had to educate a lot on. So it started with, 1 hour sessions explaining to them what tokenization is, giving a lot of research about what it is, how the process gets started. Then introductions to vendors were made where they got to pick the platform that they wanted to tokenize on. Also the kind of offering that they were making, so like the liquidity strategies, all that needed to be included into the structuring of the token in order for them to finally make it and go live with it. So that was a really cool process to see, and it actually got done pretty quickly as well. And we did gain a lot of we gave them a lot of exposure. We're still sharing what they have been doing with their funds on our social medias. So if anyone goes to our LinkedIn page for Security Token Advisors, they can see the CEO of the company explaining like how tokenization solved the real problems for him. His first one was like that liquidity aspect that I spoke about. So I was really impressed by the fact that he can give his investors a way out of their investment faster than they normally would have. And another one that he mentions is also the way that it was easier for him to manage various investors when you tokenize, right? So he had an easier automation process. And he talks about it. He's like, yeah, like, I don't know if you know this, but like checks take a while, ACH, deposits that done all that. He's like, tokenization just made that process easier for me. So.
And is it all transacted in crypto, or it could be transacted in US dollar?
So it could be both.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know you also mentioned life insurance before. How you can tokenize that. How does that work?
So life insurance is, we have, actually, no, we do have a client life insurance, but the best answer I can give for that, we have Peter's Tokenize This report, where he talks about how to tokenize life insurance. And basically, it all comes down to the same thing. We're taking that real world asset, so that life insurance, and we are doing it. And we are just putting it back into the blockchain for it. So it's more or less the same process for it, figuring out what you want the structure of that to look like, what platform it is that you want to place it on, and then what it is that you're offering your investors. So after
that return is basically promised upon the death of that person.
Yeah.
And that one is not as liquid. You can't just. Oh no, you could sell your share then. I guess you could say that. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Very cool stuff. Made me think a lot. I like it.
It's a lot.
Ilona.
Yeah.
we do have someone that did show up from Geeks Capital. I don't know if they want to say a few words, have any questions. I know they did drop in a little late, so feel free to say something. Welcome. We can't hear you if you're talking. Is anybody there from Geeks Capital?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Okay, well, if you are there, we can't hear you, but feel free to leave a comment in the chat or try to get back on and we'll answer your questions. Are you there? We can kind of hear you.
Do you guys hear me?
Now we can hear you, yes. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm just listening this approach to the tokenizations. Very cool stuff. just listen at this moment, learning more about it. I've been working with blockchain since 2014, so it's good to
Okay.
see new technologies being implemented in the real world. So yeah, very interested.
Absolutely, absolutely. Are you an investor looking for, you know, an opportunity to tokenize?
I always looking for new projects, new information to
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
do
Well,
later,
you
yeah.
definitely want to link up with Ana at some point. You can scan this QR code right here. That'll take you to her LinkedIn. And also here's her website. Ana, do you want to reshare the other slide so that he can see it?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me stop sharing. And that way, sir, what's your name? From
My
Geeks
name
Tech?
is Luciano Ayala.
Luciano.
From
Welcome,
Parkland.
Luciano. So Anna's sharing her slide. Here's her email address, her Twitter, her LinkedIn. And she is offering a course, this might interest you, on, you know, for real estate tokenization. Feel free to check it out. She's got a discount code right there. And security token advisors, they love to educate. So, you know, feel free to reach out to Ana.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think we're connected on LinkedIn, Luciano.
Yes, we do.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, we're good homies.
Good. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ana. This was really great. Ilona, any last words before we go?
No, this was so supportive. I'm just, thank you for hosting as always, Shirley. This is amazing. Our community gets to learn and grow. And for everyone watching the recording later on YouTube, make sure you follow both our comadres, Shirley and Anayansy, our amazing presenter today. By the way, if you're not familiar, this is for YouTube. If you're listening, Las Comadres is a place where soul development and business meet. We are always open for enrollment for anyone who is interested in both growing their soul, but also these aspects of real life that you get to develop, like learning how to grow your financial abundance. So thank you both for having this beautiful talk, and we can't wait for the next one.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Luciano, for being here. And let's stay tuned for the next one, which is in a month.
Cool.
And
Thank you.
we'll let you know when the next Comadres in the Metaverse webinar comes out.
Thank you, guys.
For everybody. Thank
Yes.
you, Lona.
Thank you.